Hey everyone, I'm Zonap, and for the past week I've been playing World of Warcraft Dragonflight. So there was a lot to get through and a lot to get to now, so let's go ahead and just dive right into it. For a bit of background, I've been playing WoW off and on since the end of the Burning Crusade. I've done pretty much everything from high-end raiding to Mog farming, and the game has kept me hooked for years. With the drop of Dragonflight, I had to make my annual journey to Azeroth to check out the game. So while this isn't my first attempt week, it didn't feel right to do the series without bringing in one of my favorite MMOs of all time. With that said, let's talk about how the week went. Going into this week, I was nearly max level, and I spent a lot of time exploring the Dragon Isles. I couldn't help but be amazed at what Blizzard had accomplished with Dragonflight. The open sky and amazing zones really were only made better by soaring around on the back of your own customizable dragon. And for the first time since I've ever played WoW, I didn't feel the need to rush. I took my time throughout the week in exploring zones, checking out all the events, and most importantly doing dragon racing. Coming into Dragonflight from the hellscape that was Shadowlands just makes the expansion seem all the better, but overall I was happy with the game. I still don't see it becoming my mainstay game as of right now, however I do plan to play it the rest of the month to see if it's something I'd enjoy. During my week I wasn't able to do any of the endgame content I wanted to, but I did do a lot, and let's start talking about some of them with the pros. Based on my intro, it should come as no surprise that I consider the biggest pro of Dragonflight to be its namesake. Dragon riding is an amazing advancement to movement in the game. Instead of the usual Pathfinder achievements we would have to get, we got flying right out of the gate. And being able to customize your dragon based on content throughout the game was a fantastic decision in my opinion. And having the only gate on dragon riding be some parts of the story and finding glyphs was a massive W in my opinion. I can't overstate how much fun I had zipping through all the racing courses to get gold, and how much I want to unlock the advanced races during the week. The advanced races are locked behind a rep grind for their Valdrakken Accord, however I gotta say I liked how rep was done as well. It actually came as a shock to me how much I enjoyed the rep grind. From going around doing different events to races and bounty hunts, the rep comes fast, and I thought it was paced out rather well. In my experience during the week, I was able to obtain a lot of Valdrakken Accord rep, and not too much on the others, but this was fine with me as the Valdrakken Accord is what unlocks the advanced dragon racing. I also liked how the rewards were done. Looking through reward tracks for the reps, I didn't find anything that seemed 100% needed, and a lot of it unlocked even more fun systems or cool things that would further enhance the game experience. So I thought this was also a pretty strong win, and together with rep earned through events was definitely a good idea. Speaking of events, as you move through the rep tracks, you unlock zone events for each of the reps. For the Valdrakken Accord, I found rallies to race dragons, the Centaur had hunts which usually culminated into a large boss, and unfortunately I didn't get to do the Explorers or the Tuskar community events, however I would love to see what's involved with them. But similar to what I was saying with New World, the changes to the game made the world feel very alive, and seeing people fly around on their dragons or participate in awesome large-scale sieges was epic. And the loot you got from doing it was great, especially if you're into Transmog. Another amazing aspect of the game is the Transmog system. I absolutely love how I can change my outfits, and collecting new ones always opens up so many options for the look of your character. One of my favorite things to see on Twitter is Mog Monday, where people show off their outfits. It gives me a bunch of inspiration for my own, and I think it's an amazing part of the community as well. The system WoW uses for Transmog is in my opinion the best in the genre. Final Fantasy XIV's definitely comes close, or is its equal, but I love how Mog is done in WoW. I also was super in love with my character's design, and I just want to say how great the Drakthir's customization options are. Amazing job by the design team there. During my week in WoW, I made sure to run all the new dungeons as well, and get a feel for them. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do the M+ version of these dungeons and see how the endgame dungeons were overall done, but I loved the open nature of a lot of these dungeons, and the Quidditch vibe of one of the boss fights was extremely interesting. I was so concerned where to score on that thing that my DPS was terrible. I definitely would love to come back later this month to check out the M+ versions of these dungeons and just see how it changes overall. There are definitely way more pros I can talk about here as well, and in my experience with WoW, the lore tends to be top notch, well except for Shadowlands of course. The raid's fun, and I'm super curious about the new crafting system. However, as I was not able to dive into the lore or get my eye level high enough for raids and M+, I can't include them in this video. Later this month, or sometime this year, I'll come back to Dragonflight and make up a follow-up video covering endgame in 2023. With that said, let's look over the con that I ran into. So I know I'm probably poking the bear with a stick by having this be one of my biggest cons in the game, but the toxic community is not something I can ignore for an MMO. In my week of playing, I do want to say I didn't experience too much toxicity from the community. However, as I mentioned in the background, I've played WoW for years, and I'm also an active member on the WoW Twitter, so I know how bad it can get. Unfortunately, the social aspect of an MMO is large, so the community is something I wanted to cover, but it didn't come across too much toxicity in my week, thankfully. I believe that the toxicity comes from the endgame content, and once I come back and visit the endgame, I'll let you guys know for sure by either posting another video about endgame for Dragonflight in 2023 or making a short about it. Past the toxicity though, I genuinely can't think of another con right now. I'm not saying the game is perfect or anything, But in my week of playing the expansion, or even back when it launched, I was overall happy with the game. I definitely like to come back and go through different systems with a bit more of a fine-tooth comb, but to wrap this video up, let's talk a bit about my overall feel for Dragonflight and while going forward. Overall, and at least right now, Dragonflight is a solid expansion. I have come across a ton of things I found interesting, and I love that more passion is being put in the game, with mechanics such as dragon riding and the event system showing that Blizzard is changing their philosophy for the game for the better. I hope to see a ton of the systems I got to play with this week become evergreen, and overall I give Dragonflight a 7 out of 10. This number is lower because while I did find the game impressive, it couldn't keep my attention the way New World did. I definitely still think the expansion is something people should check out, and I definitely plan on coming back later this year to make some side content for Dragonflight. But hey, at least for now, thank you guys for watching. I know it was a bit of a long one, so if you stayed to the end, I really hope you find that piece of gear you need in your Great Vault. But I have a couple questions for you guys. What are your favorite parts about Dragonflight? What are some things that whenever I make content in the future I should come back to and visit? Please let me know in the comments below, and if you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing so we can ride the infinite time ways and figure out that algorithm. Thank you guys, stay amazing, and GG.